Hello DIYers, today we have a 2006 Toyota Highlander with the 3.3 liter V6. In this video, I'm going to show you how to change the oil and also show you how to replace the cabin air filter. All of the parts, tools, and specifications will be in the description below, and I'll put it on the screen now so you can have a quick reference. In order to open the hood in the driver's side footwell, pull the lever that's located here. At the front of the car, the latch to release the hood is about here. Pulling that will allow you to put the hood up, and then you can set the hood prop like this. Before we get started, I'll quickly show you where everything is. Here's the oil cap, and it shows you the proper oil to use. And over here is the oil dipstick. We're going to use that later to check the oil level. I also want to show you where the oil filter is located. On this car, it's a little bit weird. It's located here underneath the manifold. And here's a zoomed in shot so that you can actually see where it is. It's not that hard to get to, especially if you're not filming, but you might have trouble finding it if this is the first time you're changing the oil on your Highlander. Okay, and let's do a quick check of the oil to make sure that it isn't low or discolored. Everything looks good, might be even slightly overfilled. We'll pull the car now into the new garage space. For SUVs like the Highlander, I like just using ramps. The ramps give us a couple more inches to work with, and that's all we really need. Once you line them up, it's really easy to just drive on top of them. And for added safety, we'll put wheel chocks on the back wheels just to make sure that the SUV doesn't slide backwards. And I like using a jack stand just for added redundancy. The last thing I need is for the car to fall on top of me. While the ramps can definitely hold the weight, they are made of plastic, so I just want to be safe. Let's also loosen the oil cap and pull out the dipstick. This will help the oil drain faster. It'll also remind us to put oil in the car. And here's a reference shot so that you can find the location of the oil pan and the drain bolt. The drain bolt is located right about here, and we're going to get started. Here I'm using my favorite 3/8 long handle flex head ratchet from Gear Wrench. We're using a 14mm socket, and we're just going to loosen the bolt by hand after we break it loose. Make sure your oil catch pan is properly lined up. You'll notice that the drain bolt is slightly angled, so just be mindful of the direction of the flow. And just a reminder that all the parts and tools are in the description below. Purchases through my links really help support the channel. And while we're here admiring the money shot, I also wanted to take an additional moment to ask you to like, subscribe, and share this video. A little bit of your time really goes a long way in helping to tell YouTube that my videos are worth sharing with other people. I really appreciate it. On to the next step. You'll notice that the drain plug crush washer is stuck to the oil pan. A flathead screwdriver or a pick will get that right out. While the washer is probably reusable, I personally just like to replace them with every oil change. They cost about $1 each. You can buy them in a 10-pack and have them available for every oil change moving forward, especially if you own multiple Toyota vehicles. Every Toyota I've done an oil change on has used the same drain bolt and crush washer. We have the torque wrench here set to 33 foot-pounds. If you don't have a torque wrench, that's totally fine. I usually just do Handtight plus a quarter turn. The torque wrench is really just to help us make sure that we don't over-tighten it. Over-tightening could damage the drain pan. We only need to tighten it enough to crush the crush washer. Now we can clean up because we're all done down here. For the spin-on oil filter, we'll want to move the catch pan slightly forward. Here's how I aligned it. Because the spin-on is placed horizontally, there's no way to remove it without getting a little bit dirty. This fancy multicam shot will show you just how hard it is to avoid making a mess. If you're lucky, your spin-on was only placed hand tight, which means that you can just spin it off like I'm doing here. If you're unlucky, you might need an oil cap wrench. I found that a 64mm 14 flute cap wrench works best. Be careful because the 64-65 14 flutes sometimes are just a little bit too big. My favorite is the Motivix cap wrench that I've used in other Highlander videos. It's especially great for newer Toyotas that use the reusable oil filter housing. And as you can see, even though the catch pan is doing its job, it's still hard to avoid the oil dripping onto the cross member, which means we'll just have to clean it up later. Today we're using the OEM filter, which is what I recommend. It's pretty much priced the same as aftermarket filters, and you can get it everywhere from a dealership to Walmart to online. We'll just do the quick double check that it's the right size filter, and we can start prepping it. My hands are oily, so I'm using a screwdriver to take off the plastic piece, but I'm pretty sure you can just peel it off with your fingers. Then we're just going to put a little bit of oil on the gasket. I'm using old oil. You can use new if you want. It really doesn't matter. We're really just making sure that the rubber gasket doesn't kink when we tighten it into place. Now we're ready to put the oil filter back on. This is a little tricky because it's hard to see. I barely had enough room for the camera in this shot. You'll basically have to do it by feel. Once you find the right angle though, it does go on easily. Oil filters really don't need to go on that tight, so just make sure it's hand tight to help out your future self. I'm using brake clean to get off all that excess oil, but if you just have shop towels or rags, just dab the area as best you can. Now we're ready to put in the oil. The 3.3 liter V6 engine in this Highlander needs 5 quarts of 5W30 weight oil that meets ILSAC GF6A standards, which the Kirkland brand from Costco actually meets, and it only costs about $4 to $5 a quart. Given the age of this car though, next time around I'd probably try some high mileage oil. If you have a recommendation, please leave a comment below. We're going to fill the Highlander to 4.5 quarts. We'll put the rest of the oil when the car is level. That means we'll need to start the car and get it off the ramps. Let's make sure to remove the wheel chocks and also the jack stand underneath the car, and then we'll slowly back the vehicle off the ramps so that the car is level. And definitely make sure that you put oil in the car before you take it off the ramps. It's one of the reasons why we keep the oil cap loose and the dipstick out, just to remind us to put oil in. Once the car is level, we'll check the dipstick, and it looks like we're right where we're supposed to be, which is halfway between the min and max line. Those 2 dots usually represent about 1 quart of oil, so we'll put the remaining half quart in, and we'll be good to go. And now we're done the oil change, and let's move on to the cabin air filter. Today we're using a Denso filter. This one's just a normal budget aftermarket filter. There's charcoal filter versions as well, if you want to try to control the freshness of the air coming into the cabin. The cabin air filter is located behind the glove box. You don't need to remove the glove box, you just need to push in the tabs on the side and it'll slide out a little bit farther and give you access to the cabin air filter location. The filter is located here, and all you do is slide this cover upwards. There's some tabs at the bottom, and you kind of just flip it up. And once you flip it up, you'll see the cabin air filter right there. The filter itself is in a little plastic harness, so we're just going to pull the whole plastic harness out. You just kind of reach in there and pull it out. You'll just have enough room with the glove box in the down position to get it all the way out. And this car totally needed a new air filter. I'm very happy that we're changing it out. Here's the new filter. You can see how clean it is compared to the old one. I couldn't even begin to tell you how old that air filter is. The old filter will pull right out. The harness just has little tabs on it. The filter isn't stiff enough to break the tabs or anything. Once the old filter is out, we'll just slide the new filter in, and we'll just make sure that the filter is tucked in underneath those tabs. And now that the filter is back into the harness, we're going to put it back inside the glove box. And we'll put in the harness the same way that it came out. It's a little tricky to find the right angle just because there's not a lot of room to work with. But once you find alignment, it'll slide right in. If you feel like you're forcing it in, just take it out and try again. And you'll notice the arrow that points upwards, that's the direction of the airflow. The cover also has the same up arrow, so just make sure that the harness and the cover line up. Then we'll just put the cover back on. You do it by sliding the tabs up top in first, and then it snaps into place along the bottom. And that's it. Now that that's in, we can put the glove box back into place. You just squeeze the tabs on the side and push up. And there you go. I hope you found this oil change DIY guide and cabin air filter guide for a 2006 Toyota Highlander V6 helpful. I make videos like this weekly, so if you like DIY content, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing. I'm Alan, and this is Metalloop. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.